Introduction. Su Xuan had a strange dream. In the dream of the end of the world, everyone was struggling to survive, only he stepped on the path of cultivating immortality, had countless opportunities, embraced from side to side, and was filled with fragrant jade. In reality, Su Xuan suffered from lack of inspiration in his creations and wandered through a chat group of emperors with secondary illnesses. He spent his days fishing and chatting in groups, boasting and chatting. Once, in order to preserve the water group. Chapter 1. Strange Dreams and Chat Groups. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Doctor, I've been having a strange dream these days. Dreaming that this world will soon experience unimaginable chaos, disasters, and frequent anomalies. The global population will sharply decrease by 90% within a month. The end of the world has come, and the entire human civilization will be destroyed in an instant. In this dream, I seem to be a cultivator, possessing various creations, various divine powers and spells that come at my fingertips, countless beautiful and handsome men, throwing themselves into arms. The sunlight scattered in the warm room. A handsome young man was sitting anxiously on an icy bench, looking at the white-clad doctor in front of him, rubbing his hands and looking uneasy. Doctor. You said. Is my situation mentally? Or is there something wrong with my brain? Across from him is a middle-aged doctor in his 40s and 50s. Half bald, with a white coat that smelled of disinfectant, he was wearing glasses and flipping through Su Xuan's examination report. Don't think too much, there's nothing wrong with your brain. Dreaming is a normal physiological activity of the brain, and it is not closely related to mental aspects. The middle-aged doctor's expression was calm as he flipped through various indicators and said, "Look at your examination report, there are no abnormalities, even better than normal people. Generally speaking, your situation should be due to excessive mental stress. High pressure. But doctor, I haven't had much pressure lately, and everything in this dream is particularly real." The young man leaned forward with a slightly anxious tone, trying to explain the abnormality of the dream to the doctor in front of him. Every time I wake up, I can clearly remember what happened in my dream, and even the cultivation method in my dream, I fully recall it. It's nothing, I've seen too many of you in this situation. Putting down the report, the middle-aged doctor picked up the goji berry water from the thermos and took a sip, calmly. Because the electroencephalogram, EEG, and blood test reports of young people are all normal, with no signs of illness. Is it really okay? The young man was still a bit worried. There's nothing wrong, young man. Sigh, if you have to worry, I'll prescribe some alprazolam tablets for you, take them on time, and go relax more. Don't be idle and daydream all day. The middle-aged doctor put down his thermos and touched his head, his tone somewhat bleak. When you reach my age, you will know. You're not sick, it's a good thing. Gudong. The simple rental house is brightly lit. Mix it with mineral water and swallow 2 Aputron tablets. Feeling the sour taste, the young man smashed his mouth and his mood noticeably improved. Su Xuan. Male. Graduated from Nanjing University. History Department. A network writer. Although he is a novice online writer, as a graduate of the History Department of Nanjing University, Su Xuan has a solid literary foundation. In addition, due to professional reasons, Su Xuan was extremely familiar with the history of the Great Qin Dynasty for 5,000 years, which allowed him to make a name for himself in the historical stream. Although it's far from becoming a book, renting a house to support oneself is still more than enough. A month ago, after finishing my previous book, I went to the library to soak for a few days and planned to open a new pit after taking a break. Before he could rest for long, he inexplicably realized that when he slept at night, he would always have the same strange dream. In this dream, there is a great change in heaven and earth, a disaster on earth, and everyone is in danger. However, he is a cultivator who relies on various divine powers and spells to traverse all directions in the apocalypse. At first, Su Xuan didn't feel anything. After all, he himself is an online writer. Although he focuses on history, he also reads other types of novels, and the apocalyptic genre is no exception. In addition, in this dream, he relied on the cultivation method to kill in the apocalypse, and various opportunities for beautiful women to embrace him. Isn't this just a pure dream? He didn't take it to heart either. But soon, Su Xuan noticed something was not quite right. How can I always having this dream? It's just 1 or 2 times. I've been dreaming the same dream for more than 10 consecutive days. Isn't the situation a bit abnormal? And this dream is not only frequent, but even after waking up, he can vividly recall everything that happened in the dream. Even those cultivation methods can be memorized word for word. When memorizing classical Chinese in the college entrance examination, it's not as smooth. After struggling for a long time without understanding, Su Xuan, holding the idea that something might be wrong with his mind, anxiously went to get an expert account and underwent a full-body examination. Fortunately, it's okay. Surprisingly, is there too much pressure? Taking a deep breath, Su Xuan spread out on the chair, feeling noticeably better. It's true that one shouldn't stay up late to read novels. Let's talk about the matter of opening a pit for a while longer. I happily took a vacation for myself. Open the notebook. The azure light shone in the rented house. As soon as the computer was turned on, several messages popped up on the desktop screen. Yesterday, Changxing Tongxian spoke the most actively in the group and was awarded the title of Dragon King. Group friend Changxing Tongxian has gained the fire of group chat. As soon as this news came out, a series of curses popped up in the chat group. Why is this hanging hair.jpg again? Dragon King, spray water, satisfy you. JPG, labor and management just pee in the Dragon King's mouth. JPG, let's take a look at which talkative SB has become the Dragon King. JPG, this dog coin bought a building in the group. JPG, looking at the dynamic pictures of these sand sculpture enthusiasts, Su Xuan's mouth slightly raised, and his handsome face showed a lonely expression like snow in life. As an online writer, Su Xuan's favorite thing besides coding is to soak in the hills and fish in the water. Whenever he has free time, he goes online to chat with his friends in the sand sculpture group. With a wealth of knowledge reserves and a strange typing speed like tentacles, he is definitely the undisputed king of water. And this chat group was added by Su Xuan a few days ago. The full name of the group is Mysterious Organization Chat Group. There are only 7 members in the group. They are the Qin Zulong, the Great Han Emperor. A clump of grass dominates. Wei Wuifeng, the true master. Start with a bowl. Li's second son. Mainyang. However, although there are only 7 people in this Qiuqiu chat group, the level of activity is outrageously high. These 7 bastards go crazy every day like they don't have to go to work or sleep. If you don't pay attention, it's just 9.99 plus group messages. Even for him, it took 9 oxen and 2 tigers to become the Dragon King in the group. Moreover, everyone in this group is in the late stage of secondary illness, and their favorite way of chatting is to brag and pretend to be forced. It seems that everyone loves to treat themselves as historical figures. Opening and closing one's mouth means I, alone, and this king, and their favorite topics of discussion are many things related to history. The Qin Zulong said, "Don't pay attention to this scumbag for now, my friends. Can anyone give me any advice on the matter we inquired about last time?" The Qin Zulong said, "The coronation ceremony is only a few days away. Lu Buwei, this old man, is really coming more and more frequently every day. Just last night, he came knocking on me again." Chapter 2. Bragging, right? Who wouldn't know? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Faced with the message sent by Emperor Qin Zulong in the group, soon someone answered. Wei Wuifeng, the true master, said, "LV Buwei. Senior Ying Zheng, haven't you gone to find someone named Wang Jian? Although our parallel worlds are different and have some differences, they should be almost the same. Wei Wuifeng, the true master. According to historical records, this person has the courage to withstand 10,000 soldiers and is known as the god of war of the Great Qin. In the history of the Great Qin, he is second only to the god of killing, Bai Qi. As long as you give him military power, why be afraid of LV Buwei? Moreover, it is quite useful to win over the old man Meng Ao. Da Qin Zulong. It's not that I don't want to go, but now the whole Xianyang King's city is under martial law. The three forces of the Zhou family and the Han family of the Zhao family are fighting over each other, and their eyeliner are everywhere. I can't even get out of this yard. The Emperor of Han said, how unreasonable. Bullying others is too severe. This is parallel to time and space, and the timing is not right. Otherwise, I will send Wei Qinghua Tsubing with 300,000 troops to help. What about LV Buwei, Lord Chongping, and Empress Dowager Xia? They all have to kneel in front of the Ying Zheng brothers. Chao Tsongyi Ba said, Emperor Wu of Han, Lu Che, is right. But Senior Zulong, you also have to hold back. When you were chased and ran around by the Chao thieves, Mr. Zhuge once told me a truth, which translates to, do it if you can, but endure if you can't. The second son of the Li family said, that's right. If you can't bear it, you'll have a big plan. If you can tolerate it for a while, calm down the waves. Take a step back and wait until the time is right. Damn it. That's how my Xuanwu Gate incident came about. Wei Wuifeng, the true master, said, at a bully selling grass shoes in the grass, can you also implicate me? And when did I pursue you? De Qin Zulong said, I can't bear it, my friends. I want to kill this old man now. Protons have been under control for several years, and I still have to control them when I return. My start was too bad. Opening a bowl. It's okay, Senior Ying Zheng. Your opening is many times better than ours. Is there anyone in the group who is even worse off than us? Mei Nyang. I feel that I have the right to speak about this tragic matter. In the group chat, it was bustling with activity. Su Xuan took a trip to the restroom, and the chat group kept beeping incessantly. Soaked a bowl of instant noodles and looked at the chat records in the group, Su Xuan's mouth twitched. These guys. It's really full of attributes for secondary diseases. Has this completely immersed oneself in it? I really don't consider myself a modern person. Watching them chatting passionately, one by one being able to boast, Su Xuan's temper also rose. Isn't it just bragging? Who wouldn't know? Compared to boasting, Su Xuan ranks second in this world, and no one dares to claim first. Just as he picked up the keyboard and planned to blend in with the group of two illnesses, he suddenly caught a glimpse of his medical diagnosis book and the apricorn tablets placed next to him in the corner of his eye. Su Xuan's eyes suddenly lit up, and a spiritual light suddenly appeared. Changxing Tongxian said, at De Qin Zulong, what are you cowardly about? Isn't he just a LV Buwei? Is it so difficult to deal with? Just kill him directly. De Qin Zulong said, at Changxing Tongxian, there's no such thing as that. LV Buwei's power is complex and intricate. I just returned to De Qin, and my foundation is still shallow. The black ice platform, which I secretly formed, is now only about 20 people. Although they all have the courage of 10,000 men, it's as difficult as climbing to the sky to kill LV Buwei. Wei Wuifeng said, yes, let's endure it. Opening a bowl. There's not a big problem. Although they are all different parallel worlds, based on historical progress, it should be that Senior Ying Zheng will eventually win. Mei Nyang. But after all, it's a parallel world, and it's also very prone to problems and may change history. It's better to be careful. The great Han Emperor said, Senior Zulong, this situation is indeed a bit difficult to handle. The current situation is a bit disadvantaged, with LV Buwei, Huayang, and Xia Ji. These three forces, one by one, becoming larger and larger. Li's second son. Difficult. Chao Tsongyiba said, when I have time, go ask the military commander how to deal with this matter. Yoho, you're still playing, right? Roll up your sleeves. Chongqing Tongxian said, isn't it just LV Buwei? What if there are few people? I have a method that can pass Chongqing. By relying solely on this method, I have been unparalleled in countless disasters, unparalleled in the world, and close to countless hardships, living a long and carefree life between heaven and earth. If the cultivation is successful, let alone Lu Buwei, Huayang, and Xia Ji. Even if the 6 countries' powerful soldiers arrive together, why be afraid? One sword can break through 10,000 methods. One sword breaks through 10,000 methods. As Su Xuan's words fell, there was clearly a few seconds of silence in the chat group. In a moment Chao Tsongyiba said, What? One sword breaks through 10,000 methods. Isn't this the legendary Immortal's method? Is it not that the Immortals in the legend have the ability to connect with the mysterious group of friends forever? They are the legendary Immortals. Doghead JPG. The great Han Emperor said, I have traveled through the 3 mountains and 5 mountains, searching all over the world without any trace of Immortals. I never expected that Immortals would be right in front of me. Doghead JPG. The second son of the Li family said, ha ha ha. The Immortal is above, I will bow down. Wei Wui Feng Master. 1 bow plus 1. Opening a bowl. Ha ha ha. This is really great. With this sentence, let's also pay homage. Mei Nyang. 1 bow plus 1. Oh, asterisk greater than or equal to less than or equal to, the chat group is filled with a joyful atmosphere. It is obvious that the people in the group did not believe this at all. But who is Su Xuan? That's the tentacle monster in the coding world, the water dragon king in the water group world. In terms of boasting and hitting 2 diseases, there are not many who can match him. Faced with the speeches of many group members, Su Xuan remained calm and composed. Roll up your sleeves. There are no Immortals in the world. Oh. It's ridiculous. How dare you speak recklessly without seeing Immortals? There are Immortals in the world, towering in the white jade capital. I once traveled all over the world in a day, swaying like a kunpeng, and once picked the stars with one hand and climbed to the moon to admire the Gui Palace. Lu Bu, find Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Bai Qi, Xiang Yu is brave. He can be destroyed with just a flick of his finger. A 10,000-foot tall building that doesn't break through the Shu Road. It's just one finger. Turning one's hand into a cloud, covering one's hand into rain, all the will of this world should flow as my will, even if it is the vastness of the river, the power of heaven and earth should belong. In front of the computer screen, Su Xuan held the keyboard and talked nonsense, pointing the way. After a moment of silence the second son of the Li family. It's really powerful. I'm worthy of being a group of friends who have a long life and know the mysteries. I'm really excited about what I said. The great Han Emperor said, the eloquent disciples of Chongqing Tongxian group are almost comparable to my Dongfang Shuo. De Qin Zulong said, not necessarily. Is there really no Immortal in the world? Opening a bowl. At Great Qin Ancestral Dragon, don't believe me, Ancestral Dragon Senior. There are no Immortals in this world, they are just means of our rule. Wei Wuifeng, the true master, said, yes, although it is from different time and space, according to historical records, it seems that you, Senior Zulong, fell due to the pursuit of longevity. Mei Nyang. The parallel world on my side is also. De Qin Zulong. Really? Chao Tsongyiba said, really? It's obvious. There are Immortals in the world, and the people in the chat group didn't believe it at all. Of course, Su Xuan didn't believe it either, but when faced with the second group of friends in this group, he was also unwilling to be outdone. Changxing Tongxian said, foolish. Have you ever said there are no immortals in the world without seeing them? Short-sighted, I am ashamed to be with you and others. The second son of the Li family said, the friends of the Eternal Wisdom Group are really practitioners. Isn't it necessary for me to respectfully call them immortals? As immortals, I wonder if there is really a cultivation method for reaching immortals. If it's convenient, could you take a look? Chapter 3. How can there be immortality in the world? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The Great Han Emperor said, ha. You're right. If we were to ascend to heaven, we could also drink and have fun with all our group friends. Opening a bowl. Can the immortal teach me how to kill with a flick of his finger? Chao Tsongi Ba said, me too. Mainyang. +1. Chapter 4. Ying Zheng. I have become, I have become. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Opening a bowl. Yes, this is the cultivation method. Why don't we look too similar? Just one action almost made our old legs cramp. Wei Wuifeng, the true master, said, Li, outrageous. I just practiced for a while and my head hurts even more. Not to mention, I need to go see Huatuo. Chao Tsong Yiba said, this is just a trick, isn't it? What kind of thing is called heaven and earth spiritual energy? Mainyang. I also feel a bit nauseous. Oh, Li's second son. At Changxing Tongxian Chuanyo, it seems that our cultivation method is not very good. I have not even developed my good skills in killing enemies in the heavenly formation. Is this really a cultivation method? At the other end of time and space, in front of the keyboard, Su Xian's face was not red and his heart was not beating. Useful. It's strange if it can be useful. If it can be useful, then it's your turn to get it. It's quite useful when dreaming. Changxing Tongxian said, this cultivation method is one of the orthodox cultivation methods, but not everyone can cultivate it. Only those who have faith can succeed. Upon seeing these words, everyone in the chat group immediately emitted a contemptuous expression. As emperors, they naturally understood Su Xian's meaning. I have given you the cultivation method, but there is a threshold for cultivation, whether it can be cultivated or not is not my responsibility. Li's second son. Really? Mainyang. Isn't this just like saying it's fake? Wei Wuifeng. That's right. Chao Tsongiba said, +1, even my third brother doesn't want to practice this cultivation method. De Qin Zulong said, let's find a safe way. Changxing Tongxian said, who said it's fake? What does your contemptuous tone mean? Don't empty mouth and pollute people's innocence. This is a true cultivation method. If you can't practice it, it doesn't mean it's useless. The Great Han Emperor said, good guy, this is the first time someone has said I can't do it. Ha. The joyful atmosphere is increasingly permeating the chat group. From sunrise to sunset, everyone in the chat group chatted until evening, when today's water group gradually came to an end. After all, except for Ying Zheng, everyone else is already a dominant presence, and various political documents are waiting for them to handle. Even Su Xian was busy cooking. Close group chat. Ying Zheng slowly opened his eyes. Reality returned, the black hall shimmered with dim candlelight, leaving him alone in the spacious palace. The liveliness faded away, and the sudden coldness and unfamiliarity made Ying Zheng close his eyes again and take a deep breath. Opening his eyes again, Ying Zheng had regained his usual calmness and slowly stood up, walking towards the door. Your Highness, it's late at night, you're going. As soon as you arrived near the gate, a eunuch in the dark approached with a smirk, offering a flattering inquiry. Why, where is your Highness going? Do you still need your consent? Before Ying Zheng could speak, a tall guard beside the main hall suppressed his anger and spoke. Ying Zheng's gaze swept down. Although he was a child and had not yet ascended to the throne, he did not show much anger. However, at the moment he was seen, the cold in the eunuch's heart suddenly rose hundreds of times, and he only felt a chill surge from head to toe. "No, I dare not." The eunuch respectfully retired. Ying Zheng turned around and walked out. 4 guards followed with great strides. Silence. Under the starlight, recalling the previous scene, the tall guard held back a fire in his heart. After enduring it for a while, he still couldn't hold back and spoke in a muffled voice, clenching his fists tightly. "Your Highness, these lackeys of LV Buwei are really becoming more and more arrogant." This is one of the guards of the Black Ice platform and also an absolute confidant of Ying Zheng. Ying Zheng did not answer, his eyes calm, but the chill deep in his eyes was like the frost of Joyo. Although Ying Zheng speaks kindly and can make jokes in the group, it is because in the chat group, what he says here is not known to the real world, and many group members are also equivalent to his identity. In the real world, Ying Zheng's speech is far from the same as in the group. Starlight scattered, walking on the road of Xianyang King City, Ying Zheng felt the breeze of the starry night while opening the cultivation method called Tai Chu in the chat group. At first, watching this cultivation method, Ying Zheng was purely for the purpose of distracting himself, dispersing his killing intent, calming his mind, and contemplating the upcoming enthronement ceremony. However, while muttering about the grand ceremony of his accession, Ying Zheng suddenly noticed an extremely unfamiliar warm current suddenly appearing in his body. What? What situation is this? Lower your head. However, before Ying Zheng could carefully examine it, he suddenly noticed a faint blue luster floating in front of him. What? Ying Zheng was taken aback. Gently pressed the center of the eyebrows. Take a look again. I read it right. This pale blue luster, about less than half an inch, floated in front of him like a firefly, shining in front of him. On such a cold day, are there still fireflies? Ying Zheng was somewhat puzzled and cautiously reached out his hand, wanting to touch the spot of light, only to find that the moment these spots approached his hand, they suddenly rushed into his body. Ying Zheng was startled and quickly withdrew his hand, only to find that all directions were dazzling fireflies. These flickering glimmers of light come from all directions, and in just a few breaths, they gather like stars. This is what? Ying Zheng's pupils contracted and he did not act recklessly. His muscles tightened instantly. Your Highness, young master. The guard, who noticed something was wrong with Ying Zheng, asked him with some confusion. What's wrong with you? Asked the guard next to Ying Zheng, who was standing in place and looking up at him. Zhaozuyuan.com. Ying Zheng suddenly turned his head, his mind spinning. You didn't see the dots of light around you? Light spot. I have never seen. The leader of the guard was somewhat confused. Can't you see it? Can only I see these dots of light? Suddenly, Ying Zheng felt the sudden warm current that had appeared in his body before and began to surge rapidly. The warm feeling swam between the blood vessels and meridians, and in an instant, it arrived near the arm. Then, under the shocked gaze of Ying Zheng, it devoured all the light points that had been touched by the arm before. And as it was devoured, the warm current became noticeably warmer, like a small sun constantly emitting waves of heat in his body. What is this? Wait. Ying Zheng's expression remained unchanged, but suddenly remembered something, causing a stormy storm in his heart. Can you say? He quickly closed his eyes and began practicing again according to the Tai Chu cultivation method he had memorized before. His once calm heart also began to beat with a thud. After a moment Ying Zheng opened his eyes. Buzzing. Countless faint glimmers, born from heaven and earth. Brilliant and brilliant, covering the entire sky. A faint stream of light, seemingly non-existent, shining between heaven and earth. They are roughly presented in 5 different colors, some big and some small, faintly visible, all of which are drilling towards his body. As these flowing lights merged into Ying Zheng's body, the faint warmth within him became even clearer. This is Chapter 5. Lu Buwei's Visit. Success in Cultivation. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Under the starlight, radiance envelopes. Ying Zheng opened his eyes and scanned all directions. Looking at the faint five-colored flowing lights around him, although Ying Zheng could still remain calm on the surface, deep inside, he had already stirred up countless waves. This is what is the situation. These are the records in the Tai Chu Qi practice technique of the Chongqing Tongxian Chuanyo, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Cardiac acceleration. At this moment, Ying Zheng felt as if his blood was surging. Is this the method of practicing Qi? Sweeping around without leaving any trace, Ying Zheng could hardly believe his eyes, and his brain suddenly burst into countless thoughts. Is this Qi refining method true? Isn't this the gibberish of Chongqing Tongshuan's group of friends? Although other group members have also tried, all of them are false, and now what kind of situation is this? Looking around, Ying Zheng still walked calmly, but his heart, hidden under his cloak and black robe, was already beating like thunder. An almost unbelievable reality was presented in front of him, and the legend turned into reality, causing Ying Zheng's 5 fingers to tremble faintly. For a moment, he almost lost his sense of propriety as the Grand Prince of Qin. On the other hand, Ying Zheng's 4 guards also vaguely sensed something was wrong with him. They are all confidants of Ying Zheng, who have been trained for a long time and are loyal to him. However, they have never stepped onto the path of alchemists and cannot see the existence of spiritual energy in heaven and earth, so in their eyes, there are no colorful dots scattered throughout the sky. Just keenly perceiving Ying Zheng, there was a slight abnormality, as if he was observing the surroundings in a subtle and imperceptible way. Your Highness, what happened? Is there a thief coming? Wei Chen did not notice any abnormalities. The leading guard continued to advance, lowering their voice and speaking, scanning the 4 directions with eagle-like eyes without leaving any trace. The other 3 guards also approached Ying Zheng without leaving any trace, dressed in pitch-black armor, vaguely guarding him in the center. Although seemingly scattered, they were already alert and their muscles were tense, constantly alert to their surroundings, ready to launch a violent attack. Can't you see it? People without Qi cultivation techniques, I can't see it. This lifelong practice of cultivating Qi through the mysterious group of friends, is it really that immortal thing? In Ying Zheng's eyes, a dazzling divine light suddenly burst out. Forcefully suppressing the excitement in his heart, Ying Zheng's fingers tucked in his sleeves trembled uncontrollably with the surging blood, but he quickly regained his composure. It's nothing, Ying Zheng tried his best to maintain a calm tone. It seems like he heard some noise, it should be the sound of the wind blowing by. The wind blows by. All 4 guards were stunned. Without explaining to them, Ying Zheng turned around and walked towards the dormitory. Go back. Yes. The 4 guards were a bit confused, but what Ying Zheng said was just what he meant. They hurriedly escorted Ying Zheng back to the palace. Without my command, no one is allowed to enter, and those who violate the order will be beheaded. He retired many waitresses and guards and ordered the black ice platform to guard around. After making sure that there was no eyeliner in the room, Ying Zheng sat cross-legged on the bed. Although the faint light spots around him dissipated naturally shortly after he stopped practicing, the dreamy scene still made Ying Zheng's heart beat wildly. Calm down, pinching the tiger's mouth and feeling the pain, Ying Zheng finally calmed down a bit. Take a deep breath. His eyes sparkled as he slowly clicked on the chat group, found the Qi cultivation method, and according to the record, he operated it several times. Buzz. After a moment, a stream of light suddenly appeared. This time, Ying Zheng saw the surrounding light spots more clearly. These light spots vary in size, ranging from about a minute small to about half an inch large, roughly presenting 5 colors of gold, wood, water, and soil. They spread throughout the room, shining like fireflies. Among these fireflies, there is still a faint stream of light emerging, swaying like a celestial meteor, sometimes not appearing, with a faint glow shining brightly. The grandest one among them, the emanating stream of light, almost illuminated half of the room, and the burning starlight almost illuminated the entire room. Although it is dazzling and magnificent inside, the many attendants guarding outside have no intention of seeing it at all. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Eyes widened, Ying Zheng clenched his fists. Seeing all of this, like a fairy tale scene, even if one is precocious and calm like Ying Zheng, they can't suppress their excitement at this moment. In the world, there really exists divine magic. What that Changxing Tongxian Dao friend said is actually not false. Holding his chin, Ying Zheng got up excitedly and paced back and forth in the room. In the quaint room, under his black and gold cloak, his pores seemed to shrink under the stimulation of this event, and his heart pounded wildly in his chest. Are those the spiritual energy of heaven and earth? Are these light points the power of the 5 elements of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth recorded in the Tai Chu Chi practice technique? Ying Zheng lifted his head and looked around. For some reason, after devouring the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, he felt that his entire state had improved. It's like it seems like the whole world has become clear. As if a thick layer of mist had been removed, he found that everything around him began to become lively. The dust in the room, the flames of candles, the howling wind outside the window, and even the breathing, heartbeat, and footsteps of the guards outside the door, he can hear it clearly. Everything poured into his ears and eyes. It's several times clearer than before. It seems that even physical fitness and reaction also much stronger. Ying Zheng pulled out a long sword and gently flicked his finger at Su Xuan www.zhaosuyuan.com. Dang, a crisp tremor resounds through the palace. Under one finger, the Great Qin sword, which was capable of supporting hundreds of pounds, was suddenly covered in cracks and almost broke. Grasp gently and fold slightly. Click. The smooth and dazzling long sword snapped in response. And Ying Zheng didn't even use 50% of his strength. Looking down at his own hands, Ying Zheng's breath suddenly became urgent. Is this the method of practicing qi? Is this the immortal method that Changxing Tongxuan's group of friends said? In the world there really exists a fairy saying. What a terrifying scene would it be if I could popularize this qi cultivation technique and allow many soldiers and attendants of the Great Qin Dynasty to practice it, even after just practicing for a moment, to have such a powerful enhancement and a folding sword. In the imagined scene, Ying Zheng's eyes were hot. What is there to resist in front of a team entirely composed of cultivators? If that's really possible, let alone the Qin state, it would be the entire 6 states and the whole world. What's the difficulty? It's easy to get. Doodle, however, just as Ying Zheng was extremely excited and wanted to continue sitting cross-legged, practicing and comprehending the principles of immortality, a hurried footsteps and knocking came from outside the door. Your Highness, young master. Please meet Mr. L.V. The originally joyful face. It instantly became gloomy. Ying Zheng's eyes were icy cold. L.V. Buwei, this old thing, what's going on again? Chapter 6. To Your Highness, I would like to retire and return home. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Candlelight burns. In the spacious room, there was immense silence. The shattered blade reflects the faint candlelight. Looking at the broken sword on the ground, Ying Zheng narrowed his eyes slightly. As early as he tried to start practicing the Tai Chu Chi cultivation method, he had already left the maids and attendants in the room, leaving only some black ice platform guards outside the door to guard. The door of the Changgongzi Hall is still very thick, so at this time, Ying Zheng doesn't need to hide his emotions much. Kill. Still not killing. Under the black and gold cloak, Ying Zheng clenched his sword tightly, feeling a chill and murderous intent everywhere. As the eldest son of the Great Qin Dynasty and the future emperor of all ages, Ying Zheng, although young, has never been an indecisive person. At the first moment he heard the maid's report, countless thoughts surged into his mind. He has been practicing martial arts since childhood, so after successfully practicing the immortal technique and absorbing the spiritual energy of the surrounding world, he clearly felt his own changes. Both physical fitness and reaction ability have been greatly improved, and have vaguely surpassed the scope of ordinary people. Although there has not been a formal attempt yet, judging from the power of easily breaking the long sword before, if we were to launch a rebellion in this room and attack together with many black ice platform guards on the periphery, do you want to take action? There are countless thoughts in my mind. But in the end, Ying Zheng took a deep breath and suppressed his trembling wrist. It's not the time yet. Silently muttering, Ying Zheng's eyes sparkled with light. It is clearly irrational to take action now to kill LV Buwei. Nowadays, in the Great Qin Dynasty, the forces of Zhao, Chu, and Han are intertwined. LV Buwei is one of the leaders of the three major forces of the Qin state, Zhao, and his power is complex. Once he is killed, it will definitely cause a storm in the court. And even if LV Buwei is eliminated, it is difficult to guarantee that no other people will emerge. Moreover, the enthronement ceremony is imminent. If the killing of LV Buwei delays the ceremony, it would not be worth the loss. Although everyone regarded him as a puppet emperor, Ying Zheng himself never thought of it that way. Now that you treat me as a puppet, who knows what will happen in the future? Not to mention the qi cultivation techniques given by my chat group and Chongqing Tongxian group friends. Feeling the heat flowing through his body, Ying Zheng's eyes shone brightly. Dada. Just as Ying Zheng was thinking this, a familiar sound of footsteps suddenly came from outside. Is this LV Buwei? Ying Zheng's heart was filled with a chill. Before he was announced to come in, did LV Buwei come in on his own? Do you really think this is his backyard? A chill rose in his heart, but Ying Zheng's face quickly wore a brilliant smile. What? Father Zhong is here. He tidied up his broken sword and answered loudly, with a hint of surprise in his voice. How many times have you said it? Father Zhong has come here, there's no need to report it. If you don't hurry, please. After saying these words, Ying Zheng stood up with great strides and walked towards the door, as if to personally get up and welcome him. However, as he approached the door, LV Buwei slowly stood in front of it, pushed open the door, and walked in like this. He has a respectful expression. Bend down and bow. Weichen LV Buwei. See Your Highness Gongzi Zheng. Watching the figure who pushed the door in by himself, Ying Zheng's heart became increasingly murderous. This is the palace of the Grand Prince of Qin, not the room of your disciple LV Buwei. How dare you open the door so casually and enter? The killing intent in my heart is constantly rising. The smile on Ying Zheng's face became increasingly friendly. Father Zhong. Ha ha ha. Why do we have to be so different from each other? Hurry up. Please sit down quickly. Looking at Ying Zheng with a smile on his face, LV Buwei narrowed his eyes slightly. For some reason, he vaguely sensed something was wrong, but couldn't quite articulate it. Thank you, Your Highness. In the end, LV Buwei respectfully thanked and slowly sat on the empty seat in front of Ying Zheng. He had a dignified demeanor, his waist slightly hunched, his long sleeves folded, his eyelids drooping, and there was no hint of arrogance, just like a lowly courtier. You acted really well. Feeling cursed inwardly, Ying Zheng smiled and asked with concern. It's already late at night. I don't know why Father Zhong came here tirelessly. Although he was only half a century old, LV Buwei's temples were already a bit grayish at this time. He has narrow and long eyes, eyebrows like long swords, and is dressed in a deep black Qin robe. There are no complicated decorations or accessories, only a pure white jade pendant tied around his waist, giving people a simple and pure feeling, making people unconsciously feel close. Especially when he laughed, this feeling became even more friendly, and it was completely impossible to see the appearance of the top officials of the Qin dynasty today. To report to Your Highness, I am here to congratulate Your Highness on his upcoming accession to the throne as the King of Great Qin. Moreover, as a vassal of Great Qin, how could you say that you have worked hard? Lu Buwei respectfully stood up and bowed, looking at the several bamboo slips and scrolls beside Ying Zheng with a respectful posture. Compared to Wei Chen, Your Highness is still sitting at his desk and studying hard at such a late night, which makes Wei Chen feel embarrassed. Your Highness is truly a rare talent in the world. It is a great fortune for the world to have Your Highness in command of the Great Qin Dynasty, and it is a great fortune for our courtiers. It is destined to prosper for thousands of years. Zhongfu's praise is absurd. Ying Zheng saw the situation and quickly stood up, supporting LV Buwei. The current prosperity of the Great Qin Dynasty is all thanks to Zhongfu. Zheng is young, so he went to the Su Xuan website www.zhaosuiyuan.com for unreasonable reasons. All things should rely on Zhongfu. Without Zhongfu, how could the Great Qin Dynasty prosper? Ying Zheng had a respectful attitude, sincere words, and a respectful attitude, and it was completely impossible to see if he was still pondering whether to kill LV Buwei half an hour ago. Your Highness is the one who praises falsely. I am afraid, how can I withstand such praise? I came from a poor background and was originally a lowly merchant in the state of Zhao. Fortunately, I was appreciated by the late king and was able to get rid of my lowly status. I dare not forget my kindness. Therefore, whether the late king or his highness, I consider myself loyal and have no other ulterior motives. Lu Buwei stood up respectfully, showing a hint of a bitter smile. However, since the fall of the previous king, rumors have been circulating in the city of Xianyang. The Qin people all believe that Wei Chen is disloyal, with slanders, insults, and mockers everywhere. Wei Chen is no longer suitable to assist his highness. As he spoke, LV Buwei bowed respectfully. In addition to congratulating his highness on his accession to the throne as King of Qin, I would like to request one more thing. After the coronation ceremony, I would like to retire and return to my hometown. I kindly request Your Highness's approval. What? Returning home from old age? No way. Never at all. How could the Qin have no Zhongfu? Zheng refused. Faced with LV Buwei's words, Ying Zheng suddenly stood up, his sword eyebrows arched, and he spoke angrily, who dares to gossip in Xianyang city? It is truly a heinous crime. On the surface, he cursed angrily, but in his heart, Ying Zheng's eyes rolled wildly. Defamation. Abuse. Sarcasm. What are you joking about? Now, who doesn't know that you, LV Buwei, are one of the 3 powerful officials in the entire Qin dynasty? Defamation of you. Isn't this seeking death? Do you have all the defamatory comments in your hands in the end? Returning home from old age, who knows how long it takes to age after the coronation ceremony? 1 day is worth it, and 10 years is worth it. Chapter 7. Successful cultivation, the first person to cultivate immortality in the Great Qin Dynasty. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. With a wave of his sleeve, Ying Zheng declared angrily, looking displeased and saying, this matter cannot be discussed again. Without the assistance of Zhongfu, the Qin would be scattered in sand. Well, Your Highness's heart is naturally known to me. As I ascend to the throne, there are still too many things that need to be dealt with. However, rumors are circulating, and in recent days, I have been threatened and warned several times. If I don't leave again, I'm afraid. Bold. Ying Zheng's sword eyebrows furrowed and he shouted angrily, who is so arrogant? Threatening Zhongfu in front of Zheng. There is really an intention to take death. Who else can there be? It's just those few people. Du Dong, Jiang, Shangyang, Taiyuan, and those batches, Your Highness should have already known. LV Buwei arched his hand, feeling a bit helpless, with a bitter and lonely expression. A few tears seemed to flow from the corner of his eyes. There are many deeds among them. Alas, let's not mention them. Du Dong, Jiang, Shangyang, Taiyuan, aren't these all the territories of the old Qin nobles? Ying Zheng was speechless in his heart. Yue found quite a few things looking at the list given by LV Buwei. Ying Zheng was surprised and his expression changed slightly. First, he slowly stood up, incredulous, and then his expression changed. The weather was uncertain, and he hesitated and struggled back and forth, seeming to be pondering. In the end, as if he had made a decision, he took a deep breath, lowered his voice, feeling a bit heartbroken, and his voice seemed a bit hoarse. Although it may seem unbelievable, I never expected it to be like this. Since that's the case, Father Zhong, recently in these places, I seem to have heard that some officials have been acting improperly, seeking bribes, and harming the people. If evidence of bribery by these officials can be found, Zhongfu can send someone to replace it. This cannot be used, Your Highness. LV Buwei was greatly surprised and spoke in panic. Your Highness has not yet ascended the throne, how can you take such a great risk? Father Zhong doesn't need to say much. Father Zhong's matter is not insignificant. This matter is so settled. This. LV Buwei opened his mouth wide, unsure of what to say, as if trying to dissuade him. However, in the end, he could only sigh helplessly. Alas! Since it was Your Highness's decision, it's not easy for me to say anything. As the words changed, LV Buwei stood up, took out 6 bundles of bamboo slips from his sleeve, and respectfully placed them on the small table in front of Ying Zheng. In fact, the corruption and bribery of officials in these areas have long been heard of by Wei Qin. Wei Qin has investigated many of their wrongdoings, such as being corrupt, seeking pleasure, and oppressing the people. These are the evidence. I originally intended to report to Your Highness when I returned home from my old age, but I never expected Your Highness to be so astute and insightful, truly deserving of being the wise ruler of the Qin dynasty for thousands of years. Looking at the bamboo slips piled up on the table, Ying Zheng smiled and nodded. This old and immortal LV Buwei did not stay in the Changgongzi Hall for long. After achieving his goal, he patted his butt and got up, then left, leaving only Ying Zheng who had been used as a gun. You can really pick. Looking at the many bamboo slips on the table, Ying Zheng's mouth twitched slightly. Du Dong, Jiang, Shangyang, Taiyuan, these are all territories of the Han and Chu forces. And they are all core areas. Du Dong and Ziyang are the spheres of influence of his own mother, Xia Ji, and the core positions of Han's influence. And Shangyang, Taiyuan, is the territory of his nominal mother Huayang, as well as Chu forces such as Chongping Jun and Changhua Jun. Ying Zheng squinted his eyes slightly, with a murderous intent. The gentle and sunny smile he had before had completely disappeared. Ha! This old immortal really used me as a commanding arrow. Although this action did not have much impact on him, and even was a good thing for him, he was as proud as Ying Zheng, and still couldn't swallow this tone. Without strength and army in hand, it really doesn't work. Even as the king of Qin, he is still a puppet king mixed among these 3 forces. With a light sigh, Ying Zheng once again felt his weakness. He had never been so eager for his strength. Fortunately, there are also mysterious organization chat groups. Fortunately, and there is also the Qi cultivation method given by the Longxing Tongxian group of friends. Thinking of the Qi cultivation method, Ying Zheng's mood clearly improved a lot. After tidying up his mind, he once again retreated from the crowd and sat cross-legged in the main hall, as recorded in the Taichu Qi cultivation method. The origin of heaven and earth, with 1 Qi and 3 cleanliness, the yin and yang essence, invisible in the beginning. Silently reciting ancient mnemonics, Ying Zheng carefully comprehends the mysterious atmosphere, and deeply comprehends the operation of many meridians. The long night is silent, and the moonlight hangs high. In the spacious hall, the candlelight was bright, and the young man wearing a cloak sat cross-legged. The gentle breeze blows, and countless colorful fireflies emerge from the sky and earth. They sway in the wind, shining like stars, permeating every corner of the palace. Accompanied by Ying Zheng's breath, they constantly rise and fall, resonate, and finally turn into a colorful mist, gradually blending into Ying Zheng's body. As these 5 colors merged into Ying Zheng's body, strands of black-brown foul-smelling objects gradually overflowed from his skin. This situation lasted all night. It wasn't until early morning the next day that Ying Zheng regained his senses from that mysterious state. Ha! Slowly opening his eyes, Ying Zheng exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. Looking at his black-brown scar-like body, Ying Zheng's eyes sparkled. Is this cultivation? Standing up and coming to the window, facing the sunrise, Ying Zheng took a deep breath. Who? At this moment, a strong wind rises everywhere. Heaven and earth flow with clouds, a gentle breeze and dawn, and all sentient beings are in various states. With Ying Zheng as the center, all the information within a radius of tens of meters has been integrated into his mind. It's like transcending oneself, everything within this range is completely understood by him. Even the heartbeat of those guards and the sound flowing in their blood vessels are clearly distinguishable by him. Arriving at the table, he took a jade seal and exerted a slight force on his 5 fingers. This exquisite jade seal, which was the size of a human head, was easily crushed like dried soil. Picking up a piece of debris, Ying Zheng vigorously swung it towards his palm. Puzzy! A 3-inch long scar appeared here, with blood surging wildly. But within just a few breaths, this wound will stop bleeding, scar and heal. After a while, the scar was removed and a layer of pale red skin had grown back on top of the wound. This. Ying Zheng has rapid breathing and contracted pupils. This immortal method, how could the effect be so strong? Such a large scar, it takes several days of rest to recover from. Looking for the sun at Su Xuan www.zhaosuYuan.com, and now, in just a moment, it has been completely healed. Although Ying Zheng has not yet been to the battlefield, even if he thinks with his toes, he can know how terrifying this qi cultivation method would be on the battlefield. The skin injury is repaired so quickly, what about the injuries of broken bones and arms? Looking down at his own arm, Ying Zheng forcefully suppressed the idea of breaking one arm to see the effect. But even so, he is strong enough. How long has he been practicing? According to the records in this Tai Chu Qi cultivation method, one can practice to the extreme, even breaking mountains and rivers, reaching up to the 9 netherworld, and descending to the underworld. And this is just one of the most basic qi cultivation techniques among the longevity and mysterious group friends. If this qi cultivation method can be popularized, who else is the enemy of our Great Qin in the world? Just 10,000 no. 1,000. I can overturn this world, these 6 countries. Ying Zheng's eyes were dazzling, he clenched his fists tightly and trembled slightly. But he did not lose his rationality and quickly spread it because of this. It was not because he was worried about his infidelity, but because this qi cultivation method belongs to the group of Chongqing Tongxian friends. Although he said that everyone can practice freely, it does not mean that people outside the group can. Thinking of this, Ying Zheng closed his eyes and quickly opened the chat group in his mind, opening the dialogue box. At all members. Wake up, everyone, wake up. I have discovered something very important. The Tai Chu Qi cultivation method given by the Chongqing Tongxian group of friends is not false, but real. Just now. I have successfully cultivated it. Chapter 8 Su Xuan. Is this person probably not a fool? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Didi. When Ying Zheng woke up, it had been a long time since sunrise, and the other people in the chat group had already woken up, some were in the morning, some were having breakfast. Upon hearing the chat group prompt sound in their minds, they immediately closed their eyes and clicked on the group chat. With a loud explosion in the sky, I made a brilliant debut. JPG, the king has arrived, please dodge, I am the one forcing the king. JPG, Let me see which guy doesn't sleep in the morning and has nothing to do. At all members. JPG, just this small matter at all members. Labor and management are just 2 slaps in the face. JPG, hang it up and play. JPG, before anyone arrives, the sand sculpture comes first. With these speeches, the atmosphere in the group instantly became lively. Li's second son. Everyone is still as active as ever, come on. Let me Kong, who at all members. Senior Zulong, excuse me, it's okay then. Opening a bowl. It's okay then. Wei Wui Feng. It's okay +1, I thought it was a big-eared thief. Chao Tsongi Ba said, at Chao Thief, it's early morning. Did I provoke you? Are you looking for a fight? Wei Wuifeng said, I'll go beat you up in a few days. Chao Tsong Yiba said, come on, let me show you what Ba Shu Yiba is. Then the two of them had a daily bickering group. Everyone watched with great interest. After a long time the great Han Emperor said, alright, at Grass 1 Overlord at Wei Wuifeng, you two, stop arguing for now. Didn't you see Senior Zulong speaking? You're disrespectful like this. Upon seeing these words, all the people came to their senses. Wei Wuifeng. Cough, I'm sorry. Chao Tsongi Ba said, it's all because of that Chao thief. Hurry up and search. After a moment Li's second son. Have you achieved it? Senior Zulong, what have you achieved? Have you achieved the body of Chui? De Qin Zulong. In the distant palace of the Grand Prince of Qin, under his black robe and cloak, Ying Zheng was covered in black thread. De Qin Zulong. Practice Qi method. Just practice Qi method. The Qi method that was posted in the chat group file by the Longevity Tongxian group yesterday, too early. De Qin Zulong. What is the body of Chu Yi? Li's second son. Which one? I remember, congratulations. Wait. Halfway through, he seemed to remember what it was. Li's second son said, wait a moment. Taichu practiced Qi technique. That thing can be practiced. Isn't that what Chongqing Tongxian group friends used to force? De Qin Zulong. In the black and gold prince's palace, Ying Zheng extended a hand and rubbed the center of his eyebrows with force. I didn't remember you. What did you promise? Take a deep breath. De Qin Zulong said, it's useful. I practiced it yesterday and succeeded. The great Han Emperor said, is it true or false? Yesterday when I was practicing, I didn't use it at all. Senior Zulong, did you not wake up? Opening a bowl. Yes, how could there be a method of longevity in the world? We also practiced yesterday, it's useless at all. Mei Nyang. I haven't cultivated it yet. Grass 1 Overlord. Not cultivated +1, Wei Wuifeng, the true master, said, that's too much of a dish for you. How can you compare yourself to Senior Zulong? Chao Tsong Yiba said, Are you sick, Chao thief? Have you practiced yet? Wei Wuifeng, the true master, said, I haven't cultivated it yet, what's wrong? Chao Tsongi Ba said, Chao Tsongi Ba said, are you begging for a beating? I think you're just itching. Wei Wuifeng, the true master, said, why don't you agree? Come to Yi City and let you see who the king is. Chao Tsongi Ba said, look at my little temper. Where's my second brother's knife? Seeing the art style that deviated from the group chat and the two live treasures bickering, the black line on Ying Zheng's forehead deepened once again. De Qin Zulong said, at first, I thought it was like this, but after practicing for a while, I realized it wasn't like this. In the following period of time, Ying Zheng recounted everything that happened last night, but the effect was very little. Li's second son. So powerful. The wound can heal in a moment. If it were placed on the battlefield, it would definitely be a great weapon. Opening a bowl. That's amazing. When Senior Zulong truly cultivates, tell me. Mei Nyang. I also want to greater than or equal to less than or equal to dot. Chao Tsongi Ba said, me too. De Qin Zulong. Dot. De Qin Zulong. You still don't believe it. Wei Wuifeng, the true master, said, no wonder we, Senior Zulong, are a bit outrageous. Faced with all of this, in the distant palace, Ying Zheng rubbed his brow and felt somewhat helpless. In fact, he had already anticipated all of this, because he knew that the people in these chat groups, each with a unique identity, were mostly eternal emperors in different parallel time and space. Yesterday, at the first moment they obtained the cultivation method, they had already practiced it and it was of no use at all. It was naturally difficult to believe at this time. Even if all of this really appeared in front of him, Ying Zheng had to wait for a while before accepting reality. Faced with the ridicule of the crowd, Ying Zheng didn't take it to heart. However, as an emperor, he clearly knew how powerful this qi cultivation method was and how it could bring about changes to a country and an emperor. Body strengthening, penetrating all things, sucking like a long dragon, all of this can be called a miracle. De Qin Zulong said, it's really useful. After practicing, a warm current will emerge. A 300-pound cauldron is as light as nothing. Have you ever said before that not everyone can practice this cultivation method? Is it only by chance? Do you want everyone to try it again when you have time? Ying Zheng wants to make a final effort. After all, this qi cultivation method is too important. However, Li's second son said, actually I tried again just now and almost dodged my waist. Wei Wuifeng said, me too. Although the things are good, let's leave them for Senior Zulong. Opening a bowl. Grandmaster Zulong didn't suspect you, but we tried this cultivation method yesterday and it didn't have any effect at all, and even almost cramped. Mei Nyang said, no, Chapter 9. Ying Zheng. I'm going to do something big. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Watching the conversation among the people in the group, Su Xuan didn't even pay attention. He rolled his eyes and struggled to get up, preparing to go to the restroom to solve the problem of constipation. Wow. In the group, Ying Zheng also figured out the wording and carefully typed down the text. At Chongqing Tongxian group friends. I have successfully practiced this Tai Chu Chi method. The strength of this method is truly its ability to connect the heavens and move the earth. I dare to ask Immortal Master, can this method be taught to others? If possible, I can definitely get rid of the current predicament and reorganize the situation of the Great Qin. If teaching can be imparted, the government is willing to pay any price. After typing these few lines, Ying Zheng sat upright in the luxurious hall, anxiously waiting. He straightened his waist, wore a black robe and cloak, remained silent and clenched his fists tightly. Even when facing the forces of LV Buwei, Taimu Huayang, and Xia Ji at the same time before, he was not so nervous. Time passes by minute by second. But Su Xuan still didn't answer. Seeing that Su Xuan had not replied for a long time, many group members also spoke up. Li's second son said, are you so serious? I thought if it were true. Seeing no response, Ying Zheng was not too discouraged. De Qin Zulong said, perhaps there is something happening right now, such as being practicing. If you don't believe it, don't continue to disturb the group of Chongqing Tongxian. When he sees it, he will probably reply. De Qin Zulong said, anyway, from now on, I will be worshipping the immortal master Chongqing Tongxian Daoyu. And since I have the method of practicing qi, even if I am the only one, I still need to prepare for the next big event. Li's second son. Do something big. What's going on? De Qin Zulong said, That must have killed LV Buwei and that group of people. I've been looking down on this guy for a long time, but unfortunately, Changxing Tongxian Immortal Master never replied. If we can teach others, it's not just LV Buwei, Empress Dowager, and the two grandmothers. I also need to strike them. Emperor Han. Mainyang. Mainyang. I always feel that Senior Zulong is a bit overconfident. Wei Wui Fengben said, I also think it's a bit. Opening a bowl. How about Zulong Senior? It's better to be more stable. Based on our experience, we can't be impulsive. Before the distant times of different worlds, Ying Zheng ignored the comments in these groups. After saying these words, he sat respectfully, waiting for a reply in his mind. And on the other side, Su Xuan came back with his pants in hand and went to the bathroom. Happy, looking for a piece of bread to nibble on, Su Xuan picked up his phone. Seeing everyone chatting in the chat area and asking questions from Ying Zheng, I immediately rolled my eyes and looked helpless. This kid, you've been deeply involved in the show, haven't you? Is he really not embarrassed to make such a solemn request? I thought this thing was really useful. Chewing on the bread slices, Su Xuan patted several lines of text on his phone. At Daqin Ancestral Dragon. Don't be so polite. There are thousands of worlds and sentient beings in the forest. Meeting each other is a chance. It's just a practice of qi technique. If it can help you overcome difficulties, it's excellent. There's no need to mention rewards, just keep them in mind. As for this qi cultivation method, it can be taught to others. But the cultivation of qi is profound and profound. If it is passed on to those with incorrect intentions, they may cause chaos and should not be taught casually. People who are not loyal, kind, filial, talented, or virtuous cannot be passed down. When teaching, the last sentence of the cultivation method can be concealed, and only when it is confirmed that the person is both virtuous and talented can the complete method be taught. Remember. As for the title of Immortal Master, it's not necessary. Just continue to use it normally. Full of pressure. After watching it once, Su Xuan clicked on send with satisfaction. In the pitch black and heavy hall, a heavy atmosphere permeates. Ying Zheng sat here, waiting for a reply in his mind. Time passes by minute by second. Just as Ying Zheng was gradually feeling down and his mood was gradually falling into a low valley in the chat group, finally came the sound of DDD. Ying Zheng's eyes lit up and he immediately opened a chat group. After a moment, Ying Zheng suddenly stood up and looked at Su Xuan's answer, almost unable to suppress the excitement in his heart. Agreed. Immortal Master, surprisingly agreed. Ha ha ha. Heaven never dies, I win Zheng. With dazzling eyes, Ying Zheng quickly arched his hand and bowed respectfully to the distant void, suppressing his excitement and answering in a deep voice in his mind. Thank you very much, group friends. The great kindness of this will never be forgotten by the government. If there are any requests in the future, we will not refuse. Click. Thunder roared and shone, and the strong wind swept through, like waves rising from the flat ground. Suddenly, above the once calm Xianyang of the Great Qin, a clear sky thunderbolt sounded. As the first person in this world to open up the impossible, break down barriers, and enter the practice of immortality, Ying Zheng doesn't know what his oath really means. Countless people of the Great Qin Dynasty looked up in shock, looking at the cloudless sky with uncertain expressions. What's going on? Is this thunder? At this time, many people of the Great Qin Dynasty did not yet know what this 100-day thunder represented, nor would they ever think of the changes that would occur in the 6 countries in the future due to this thunder. As Ying Zheng's words fell, the grand wish surged and spread, and a mysterious aura permeated from his body. After endless years of parallel time and space, almost at the moment when Ying Zheng made his oath, Su Xuan also shuddered spiritually. I looked around for a while. Scratched my head. Is it cold now? Su Xuan looked bewildered. After closing the window, he continued to look down at his phone and saw Ying Zheng's reply, as if he could see the excitement and anticipation in his tone. Zhaozuiyuan.com, this kid got too deeply involved in the show. I feel a bit insecure now. You are the Dragon King, right? After closing the chat area, Su Xuan sat on the sofa and took out the cultivation method. In the dream, he is unparalleled in all aspects, invincible in various supernatural powers and spells. This is one of them, which is the Tai Chu book that he rubbings for his friends. Is this thing really useful? I don't think it's useful, I doubt it, just a little bit confused. Muttering, Su Xuan opened the cultivation method. I silently practiced for a while, damn it. The neck of the labor management. The waist of the labor management. Su Xuan stood up with a grin on his face, covering his waist. With a painful expression on his face, he kicked the book into the corner. What kind of thing? Oh my, this group of sand sculpture friends, how could labor and management believe what they said? Nima is still the emperor, believe him or believe me as Gouda. Lowering the intelligence of the Dragon King. No, we can't stop taking the medicine. That dream still exists. Covering his waist, Su Xuan took a few tablets of aprazolam and mixed them with mineral water to gulp down. Arriving at the bedside, holding a pillow, Su Xuan lay a zombie and collapsed straight onto the bed, soundly asleep. And on the other side. The sun is shining brightly. The morning light is brilliant. Standing in the spacious Grand Prince Qin's palace, Ying Zheng took a deep breath. Agreed. Changsheng Tongshuan's group of friends agreed. Since that's the case, Ying Zheng's eyes sparkled with coldness, and he slowly clenched his fist, his killing intent boiling. It's time, get ready for big things. Chapter 10. Can 3,000 Yue Jia Swallow Wu? I will conquer the world with 300 immortal guards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ying Zheng is not a hesitant and indecisive person. After obtaining Su Xuan's consent and determining what to do next, he quickly took action. After closing the chat group, he returned to his room and spent several hours diligently practicing the qi technique. After confirming that the cultivation method was correct, he slowly stood up and called for his 4 personal attendants. Your Highness, young master. 4 pitch-black figures knelt respectfully on one knee in the palace, with a respectful expression. Each of them was tall and had sharp eyes. Although they were wearing heavy armor, they could still feel the explosive muscles beneath the armor, like the chill of a tiger. This is the 4 commanders of the Black Ice platform under Ying Zheng, who were also the ones who escorted him all the way before. Although he only returned a few years ago, Ying Zheng, with his powerful skills, secretly cultivated some of his own trumps and power. Although not many, most of them were promoted from civilian, military, and ordinary forces with innocent backgrounds. These 4 people in front of me are like this. Although they come from ordinary backgrounds, their abilities are extremely outstanding. Now they are responsible for managing his Black Ice platform. How many people are there on the Black Ice platform now? Your Highness, there are 319 people in total. The leader of the guard replied respectfully. Ying Zheng nodded lightly, not surprised by the quantity. No matter how refined this force is, there will be no more. In addition to military force, loyalty is of utmost importance for him. To enter the Black Ice platform, he must go through layers of verification. No more refinement, no more thinking of this, Ying Zheng sneered and shook his head gently. 300. Although it may be fine, it is still too few. As a soon-to-be enthroned king, it is a bit too bleak that only this small force can be mobilized in the vast entire state of Qin. However, this idea only flashed by in a flash. Ying Zheng has never been a person who easily feels sad and happy. If 300 people were placed in the past, it would have been a bit desolate, but now it's different. With the practice of practicing qi with the longevity wisdom group friends, what about 300 people? Enough. Ying Zheng's eyes narrowed slightly, and his pitch-black long hair swayed in the wind. Watching the extremely rich spiritual energy of heaven and earth around him, operating the Tai Chu Qi practice method, Ying Zheng slowly clenched his fist. First, the king of Yu hooked 3,000 armor and swallowed Wu. With his 300 immortal guards, he couldn't help but stir up the earth-shattering deep palace of the Great Qin. Go to Xiang Palace. I have something to say. The Qiang Palace is also known as the Yanwu Palace, which is occasionally used for practicing martial arts in the Xianyang King city. Yes. Although the 4 guards were puzzled, they did not show any doubts and quickly executed the order. 2 of them guarded Ying Zheng's journey to the Jiang Palace, while the other 2 went to gather the black ice platform. Ying Zheng has a very good eye for people, which has been demonstrated since his childhood. These 2 people moved quickly, and soon after, more than 300 guards arrived at the Qiang Palace. These 300 black ice platform guards, each with a tall and robust physique, wearing heavy armor and emitting a faint chill. From commoners to the current close attendants of the eldest prince, although these black ice platform guards were deliberately promoted by Ying Zheng here, it can actually be seen that their talents are definitely 1 in a million. Among them, there are many veteran soldiers from the 100 battles, and the rest are mostly those who have been soaked in blood before joining. As long as they roll on the battlefield and survive, they will be the most elite soldiers, the centurion. Looking at these elites, Ying Zheng nodded lightly. Block the Qiang Palace. Without my orders, no one is allowed to enter or exit. Order the imperial chef to prepare sufficient meals daily and deliver them to this place. In the coming period, you will all engage in comprehensive cultivation here for a period of time. Without my orders, you are also not allowed to enter or exit. Yes. Upon hearing these commands, numerous black ice platform guards answered in silence and respectfully spoke. But there were also some lively guards who were curious about Ying Zheng's posture. Although the Qiang Hall is a relatively remote hall, there are occasional palace guards who come here to practice. His Highness has sealed off this place and even asked the imperial chef to deliver meals. It is obvious that he intends to stay here permanently. But what does Your Highness want to do? However, the doubts turned to doubts, and their loyalty was not a problem. They quickly took action and cleared all the idle people around the Xiang Palace. Even the birds in the air were driven away. Disperse your mind. The operation of Tai Chu Qi practice method. In the faint breeze, Ying Zheng heard the breathing and heartbeat of several detectives, but they were far apart and could not be heard clearly speaking here. After all, the enthronement ceremony is just around the corner. With the identity of the Grand Master Qin, the 3 major forces dare not be too blatant even if they put eyeliner on him. Violation of his orders is mostly Yin Fengyang violation. Make sure that there are no spies around to hear the conversation, and Ying Zheng still maintains a state of scattered monitoring through the Qi training method, speaking calmly. Next, there must be no leakage of what I have said. Anyone who leaks anything will be killed without mercy. Yes. Many black ice platform guards respectfully responded, like black iron towers, neat and uniform, with resolute and respectful eyes. Nod slightly. Slowly take out a bamboo slip from the sleeve and calmly open it. Pass it on. Everyone, within an hour, completely memorize the contents of this bamboo slip. For illiterate individuals, let others recite. Even if it's just rote memorization, it still needs to be memorized. Upon hearing these words, some of the black ice platform guards suddenly showed signs of embarrassment. Endorsement. Is this different from what was imagined? I thought it was something like a drill. Why are you still reciting in the Xiang Palace? Especially a few veteran soldiers on the battlefield, their faces turned pale. Their originally tense faces immediately turned into bitter gourds. If they go to the battlefield to kill someone, they will never frown. But endorsement, is it a bit difficult for the boss who doesn't even recognize these words? Upon seeing this scene, one of the 4 attendants immediately turned gloomy on his face at zhaosuyuan.com. What's wrong? Have you not heard Your Highness's orders? What are you still doing in a daze? Hurry up and move forward. Yes. Numerous black ice platform guards were startled and hurriedly approached to take the bamboo slips, carefully spreading them out and carrying the words on them with a worried expression. Some of them are literate and can be easily memorized by those who have received education. And among them, those big and rough people who don't even know a basket of big characters find it difficult to memorize. They sweat profusely, scratch their ears and cheeks, and some even take bamboo slips upside down, begging the literate people around them to recite them over and over again. Many black ice platform guards were reciting and scratching their ears and cheeks, looking at their expressions. Those who didn't know thought they were being grilled on the fire. However, Ying Zheng is not worried about all of this. Because he found that although the practice of practicing qi by Changxing Tongxian Chuanyo was obscure and difficult to understand, when reciting it, there was a particularly mysterious feeling. If you don't take it seriously, you won't be able to memorize it. But if you put your heart into memorizing, you can quickly memorize it. Moreover, Ying Zheng did not provide all the cultivation techniques for these black ice platform guards. According to the records in this qi cultivation method, the first 3 major realms of qi cultivators are shackles, keel, observing the sea. 3 major realms. And these 3 realms, each realm is divided into 10 levels. Just gave them the mnemonic for the first 5 layers of the shackle realm, not too much text. As expected, when the time arrived, although everyone was sweating profusely and had some stumbling blocks, most of them could still memorize them.